What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez and DAZN remain deadlocked over $35 million 2020 fight that is in doubt. Canelo Alvarez usually fights on Cinco de Mayo weekend and then again 4 months later when Mexican Independence Day is celebrated, but not this year. Boxing's top attraction will miss both holidays, and there's growing doubt he'll fight in 2020 at all. That's because Alvarez and Golden Boy Promotions are engaged in a heated dispute with DAZN officials regarding the streaming service's refusal to pay Canelo the $35 million guaranteed in his contract. When it was signed, a 5-year deal with DAZN. In October of 2008, Golden Boy promised to deliver at least 2 Canelo events annually, with one against a premier opponent deemed as such as DAZN's sole discretion. Just who besides Gennady Golovkin qualifies as a premier in today's boxing landscape that features the stars in the sport? Okay, now the problem with this is, here's the problem. Canelo Alvarez and DAZN, they're both in a bad situation because Canelo signed a contract to fight on DAZN for, was it 5 or 6 years at $35 million a fight. You know, it was one of the biggest contracts that we've seen thus far, okay? And what I've noticed about certain things, DAZN works in a structure that really, it depends on the subscribers, the subscriptions. Okay, we know that. But then we haven't had boxing like that. So a lot of people are starting to lose and drop that because of what's going on. A lot of people are not working. A lot of people are on unemployment. A lot of people are struggling to pay their bills. And the people that do work, it's only like half the time. So they're not even really working the full time unless you're just an essential employee. Okay, a lot of these places that are just fortunate to stay open, they're not staying open at a full capacity. So a lot of their co-workers, the workers that work there, they're working at half the time and half the pay. Some places are better than others. So DAZN and streaming sites like that are the first to go, especially if they're paying like $20 a month. You know, and a lot of people look at DAZN like, okay, well, look, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drop off. And then Canelo, he can't fight because of the coronavirus. And I can understand both sides, but Canelo has to understand also, he has a contract to make $35 million a fight. But that's under regular circumstances, normal circumstances, and honestly, I don't think DAZN has the money to pay Canelo. I think that's what it is, you know. And then Canelo, he hasn't fought at all this year, and he wants his $35 million, you know. And it's kind of hard to generate revenue for Canelo, which is very popular when it comes to live gates, to fork up the money if there is no live gate. So they're deadlocked. And I understand that maybe Canelo is going to have to realize that the money that he signed on a contract, that the people that he signed with can't deliver him. I think he needs to consider that, because if he doesn't and he goes off hot-headed and he can get out of that contract, he's going to be in court. He's going to be dealing with all types of lawyer issues, and then that costs more money. Okay, just to take these guys to court, when these guys are telling you that, hey, we're not going to give you the $35 million. On top of that, Canelo Alvarez, he's required to fight a certain caliber of fighter, and he's not producing that. Okay, so you can't get this guy your dirham, okay, and expect to get $35 million. So, you know, they have a case, Canelo has a point, so we are in a limbo right now, you know, and he hasn't fought this year, so he still owes that contract to the fights. So that means he will be around for another year, Okay, after that, unless he decides to sue and try to get out of this contract. But I couldn't imagine why he would. Okay, because Canelo should have thought about that before deciding to coast and pick opponents as he wishes. You know, that was the problem. Okay, you fought Danny Jacobs last year and you fought Kovalev last year. Okay. You fought Gennady Golovkin the year before that, and he fought, I forget who else he fought. He fought the 168 pounder or whatnot. He fought him for that belt there. So, you know, when you, especially in times like this when people want to see fights, because a lot of people again are at home, a lot of people don't really know what's going on, and you know, and we're trying to get back into the swing of things. I think both sides should be lenient on each other. You know, I think DAZN should sit down with Canelo, not in court, but like they did with this contract, and inform him or his team, like, hey, you know, we've signed a contract with you, but we signed a contract with you expecting certain fights to happen. Okay, not the fights that you're trying to pick. Okay, because we're not approving that. So I think that's a big problem with DAZN paying them that money too. You know, so it's more than just, hey, we're deadlocked because, you know, he's Canelo's not getting his cut. Well, if he's not fighting, he might not be fighting. But he's missed 2 dates, but it's not, the dates have nothing to do with DAZN. Okay, so if you can't have the live gate, but you expect the live gate in order to get paid from the contract that of the $35 million you want, you're gonna have to understand that there is no crowd. If there is no crowd, there's no money, and that's where a lot of that funds was coming from. So I think both sides should be understandable. Okay, let me give you an example of understandable. They expected Billy Joe Saunders to take a pay cut. Okay, that means if they expect Billy Joe Saunders to take a pay cut, they should known, because of what's going on, they should be willing to do the same thing. Counterpunch. So that's my take on Canelo Alvarez and DAZN. You guys tell me what you think about this fiasco, this deadlock, this issue with these two parties. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.